welcome to Made to Mother podcast. I'm Tess,
I'm Carissa.
which we said in the intro, but again,
In case you forgot,
Yeah.
in a matter of a couple seconds,
you might have.
we're here for you.
We are,
So,
and we are working on the video. So
yes,
we
this
must
is
tell
really
you
exciting.
for the video.
We are really excited about this video portion.
Carissa's worked her
you-
tushy off to make this happen.
Yes, but we still have some hiccups, which you guys will see. So,
I was like, I'm
if
sure
anybody
you'll
knows-
notice.
if anybody has better tips or ideas, please let us know. But we're really excited for today's episode. We're excited to talk about how we met and first impressions of each other and how Made to Mother came to be. Because I feel like we did skip over that in the beginning because usually people don't really care about intro episodes. So
Yeah.
we just decided to skip it.
Yeah, we did. We were like, let's just get started. Well, and we want to talk about maybe making friendships, how to make deeper friendships, and look for green flag friendships. That'd be a fun way to put it. Some green flags to find good friends, because I know that is something I struggled with in the past, and I know that people are probably looking for good friends in their lives, and so
Yeah.
we'll give some tips on how to find your deeper friendships.
So yeah, you'll get to know us a little bit more about Made to Mother and deeper friendships. So
Okay, so make sure you're following us on TikTok. It's Made to Mom on TikTok, right?
it's Made to Mother.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, I made it the
Okay.
same. So we're on TikTok, Made to Mother. It should be the same as on our Insta handle. Follow us on Instagram if you're not already, and also we have a Facebook page that we'd love if you followed us on there too.
So basically, just follow us everywhere. You just cannot get enough of the Tess and Carissa show.
That's right. You can't get enough of us right now.
We are a party.
Every day, every week, baby.
All right, before we start this episode, let's chat about Wally.
Yes, Tess just got a new Wally case.
It is so cute. I wish I could show all of you if you're not watching the video. But if you are watching the video, it's a cute thunder or lightning bolt, and it's hot pink. I wanted something that was a lot brighter. This is my last case, which is cute little suns that are more brown and more muted. But this is hot pink, bright lightning bolts. Super cute. We're obsessed with our Wallies. It's just so fun to have different cases.
I've never been a different multiple case person. It's one until it dies. But now that we're working with these phone cases, it really is fun to have multiple cases. I still just have one, but we were joking about Tess having the sun and the lightning bolts, she's going for some kind of weather theme.
A weather pattern, which makes sense living in the Midwest.
Yes.
I was like,
Sunny 1 minute, hail the next, tornado watch,
it's a hoot over here. And then she's just got this cute strawberry one, and she's got a different case than me. Tell them about your case.
Yeah, so I feel like I've talked about it before on here, but I went with a cute fresh is kind of the theme, I guess you could say. Farmer's market, it's little cute pink strawberries, and my wallet case is removable. So, but it's attached by a string, so I can't lose it because I'm also at fault for that. But
not
I needed
very far removable, just kind of removable.
a tiny string because I really don't. Yeah, I don't need it to go too far away from me. It's not retractable. That wouldn't be good for me either.
The dog leash
So-
is just right back to it.
Where is it? It's dragging from Walmart to my car.
It's you forgot me again.
But so it's got a short little string, and I needed it to be removable.
It's
so I
currently
could charge
recording.
my phone.
She would show you, but it's currently recording.
Yeah,
so that's
so-
why you're
But I can put it on my phone stand at night. It makes it really nice to be able to charge it on through the magnetic charger dock.
Mhm.
The magnetic charger dock is what I use. So
Sure.
yeah, but anyways, we love our cases. If you haven't gotten one already, please use TEST10 for 10% off your orders.
Yes, and we get a little bit of a kickback, so we appreciate it because that's what is helping us improve this
That's
podcast.
all we have for this podcast, actually. So we're really grateful. But even you just being here, we're grateful to have you here. We've made so many friends through this podcast. But
Thanks
Let's-
for supporting.
so now let's start to the very beginning.
To the beginning. So Carissa's beginnings before my beginnings. So
Yeah, we
Go ahead.
were chatting about this right before we recorded, obviously, to kind of discuss some points that we wanted to do. And we realized that I remember meeting her before she remembers meeting me. So Tess moved into our ward at church. So she moved into our area, came to church. I'm in the nursery, I work with the kids, so I didn't see her in the women's class. But we do monthly activities for the women in the church, and I'm on the committee. And so we were doing an activity, and Tess was there early, helping out. And I remember seeing her in the kitchen talking to my aunt-in-law. And I just remember looking at her and thinking like, oh, she seems so cute and so fun. And then she was crocheting during the activity. So I remember I chatted with her for a minute, and I assumed that she had, when she said she had 3 kids, I imagined them to be super young. And so I was kind of shocked when Tess told me that, you know, her oldest was turning 10. And I was like,
I'm
what?
still shocked by that. I just want to point out, I was like, I still have toddlers in my head. I don't know.
But yeah, that was my first impression. I just thought Tess was super fun. I love that she came really to help with the activity, and I kind of just like, I like this girl. And then I was like, wow, we have a really big age difference. I never would have guessed that. It was just a funny conversation, which you don't remember having that conversation, right?
No, not. But mind you, I was meeting everyone there.
Yeah.
So I felt like I was like in a fishbowl of like, oh, you're new to our ward. And I feel like that's when our ward really like exploded too. We got so many new people.
Yeah.
I want to say our ward's like almost doubled in size in the past like year that we've moved in. So
Yeah, it's grown a lot.
it's
A lot of people.
huge. But yeah, so my first impression with you, so they actually called me like the week I moved in to be on activity committee, and they told me I was the activity committee chair.
Chairman.
Chair.
Chair. Oh,
Yeah.
not chairman?
Yeah, chair. I'm a chair. I don't understand it. So I was just like, oh great, I'm on the activity committee. I didn't know that meant that I was in charge of activities. Like, I thought that just meant I was on the activity committee, which is my favorite calling. Like, I love doing activities. I love, like, I used to work backstage crew, so like getting activities together so they run. It's one of my favorite things to do. So when I got called to that, the week I was in, I was like, oh, this board finally gets me. Like, I love it so much. So anyways, I got called to the activity, so I had a planning meeting, and that was like the first time I really remember you because you're on the committee. So we just had this like get together of the different activities.
We were planning out the whole year.
Yeah, so we laid out the whole year of activities for all the ladies in our ward. And she was in charge of the next activity that week. And she was like, hey, my friend Amber from my mission is in town, and she served her mission in Hawaii, and she's like, we're gonna do like a hula kind of, the theme was kind of health. And so we were talking about like healthy foods for your body, and she's like, let's do some hula dancing, where she was just gonna teach us some of the basics that she learned on her mission. And I was like, that sounds amazing. I didn't realize it was gonna be a whole controversy in our ward.
Well, yeah, there was some drama about that activity if you guys want to know the tea. We
Oh,
won't get into too many specifics.
So I had to, behind the scenes, I was dealing with all of this with Carissa because she's apparently a drama.
Which, keep in mind, it was really funny because I had box braids at the time. So I was like this hula teacher, also wannabe box braid queen that I had in my hair. So if you want to, I was like the controversial queen at that minute, and I didn't even know, I had no idea this drama was going on. And so I got a call from, I didn't know that there was problems from the activities. There was just somebody in the ward had an issue with me teaching hula because I wasn't Hawaiian, basically, is what was happening. So I got just going, la-da-da-da-da about my day, setting up the activity, and then I get a call from the Relief Society president that there was an issue and they weren't even sure if it was going to happen that night. And then Tess was also working behind the scenes with this, but the activity did end up happening.
And it was beautiful. It was such a fun activity.
It was super fun.
And so, like, our whole goal was we were just bringing, like, there's going to be just a different type of exercise to move your body, that moving your body can be fun.
Yes,
and
it's just supposed to be a fun,
the
lighthearted
culture
activity
of it, like, because she has a deep respect for the Hawaiian culture.
I do. I grew up, like, starting my mission in Hawaii, I had a lot of companions, just a missionary companion, like, who I taught with, knew hula. So she would teach me, we would dance every night just for fun. And I also had people in the area of Hawaii, which on our day off from missionary work, called P-Day, like preparation day, we could do other fun stuff. And so I'd meet up with those other members and other people, and we'd do like a hula day. I just thought it was so much fun. So I was trying to share a really fun aspect, and we had some weird drama. It was just kind of a funny, weird thing that happened. But
so I basically behind the scenes had to be like, no, I'm gonna fight for this without even knowing Carissa. I was like, no, I'm going for this. I think this is a beautiful activity done with love. And
And it was. I wasn't
It was.
trying to be controversial. I wasn't even thinking about any of that. But so, what would you say your first impression behind the scenes? Did you question if I was dramatic or brought drama? Or...
You know, I always question if you're dramatic. You know, I love me some good tea, but I like when I'm not involved in the tea. I hate being involved in drama. Oh, it gives me so much anxiety. But no, I just thought you were really fun. That there is a difference because like I am older. I'm 10 years older than you.
How old are you? I'm 24.
24. I'm 35. I don't know how old I am. I'm 35.
Oh yeah, so we're 11 years apart.
Yeah, we're 11 years
10
apart.
and 11.
Yeah, so I turned 36 in a couple months. But yeah, we do have a 10-year gap.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of times that I feel like because I'm an older kid mom, that I don't really fit in with the younger moms. This can't just be me that feels this way. So I thought we were just really fun and exciting, but I was like, I don't know if she'll want to be my friend because there's such a big age difference. And like, I know that seems silly to you, but like, as someone that I'm like, most, my other friends are all around my age. So I'm like, but I've also made friends with, I used to have a really good friend. She was one of my best friends that her kids were the same age as me. And so I'm like, you really can make ages in completely different generations.
Yeah, so kind of talking about, I don't know, you mentioned just a second ago that you felt weird about being a friend with me because I'm this younger generation with younger kids. It's funny because I think a lot of women my age or kids also feel the same way about older women, as in it's hard to sometimes feel like you're going to fit in. Because being a mom, like once you're a mom, okay, wait, let me back up. Let me organize my thoughts a little bit. Once you get married, and then you're kind of like, you're trying to find married friends.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get pregnant and you have a baby, and now you're in the same social category as anybody with a kid.
Yeah.
Like you're all just moms. And
Yeah.
so it was really hard to figure out like, oh, well, they have kids. She has a newborn baby. I have a newborn baby. But her oldest is 12.
Yeah.
And so that was a weird dynamic for me to try to fit into as well of, they're so much more, they're older, they're more experienced, they have a 12-year-old and a new baby, so it's like we're kind of on the same page, but we're different. But I've learned that the beauty in it is that we're all moms, and I actually love that it puts us all on the same page because we can all relate, and the age gap really doesn't matter.
No, because we're human, and like there are sometimes, like I'll bring something up and she'll be like, what is that? And I was like, oh, that was before your time, but I'm like, ooh, by your age, let's see. I was like, I was married when you turned.
But I would say
Wow.
another fun thing about age gap friendships, going back to like how we met, after the hula activity and all that drama kind of came back, you and I were chatting afterwards. You were in your car and I was like standing out by the window and we were just like kind of laughing about what a disaster the beginning of that was and how wonderful it worked out, and that was great. And you're like, well, I do social media, like I do some social media stuff. I'm used to weird stuff coming up, and I just knew that you were trying to do a good thing, and so I was happy to kind of help you out with that. And then I remember you bringing up that you also did a podcast, and instantly my brain was like, ding. I want to do a podcast. I wanted to do a podcast. This woman has a lot of like the qualities that I would like in a friend, and she seems super fun, and she like is doing things that I want to do, and so I instantly was kind of drawn to you. If you were just doing a lot of the same things that I wanted to be doing.
Yeah. Well, and I just thought you were fun. You were very charismatic. You were very good at handling the whole situation in such like a beautiful way too, because it could have been completely drama. And instead it just kind of turned into, oh, no, we're going to make this as beautiful as possible.
Or we're just going to do the activity. Just forget about it. We'll do the activity.
Yep.
Move on.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it will be what it is. But I felt like for you, like you came in and you were very good about everything. And that was like the first one like I was in charge of.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, oh, I've got to handle this as like the person in charge, but also like, I agree with you, and I'm like, I'm on your side, and I want you to feel comfortable here, and so it ended up being really good. But yeah, I think like because that happened in, I want to say it was this time last year. Was it this time last year? April.
It would have been around this time last year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so that was a year ago, but we didn't really become friends until the summer, I feel like.
Yeah, I think so. After that activity, I feel like we kind of like knew about each other, but we didn't really hang out yet.
Mhm.
But I remember you texting me if you guys want to know more details about Tess and I's friendship.
It's like
I had box braids, right? I'm a very adventurous person. I have gotten a little bit of backlash about getting box braids and not being a black person, and all I have to say is I got permission. I asked because I'm funny like that, I guess. But anyways, aside from the controversy of box braids, I had box braids at the time, and Tess was like, so I had box braids done with yarn.
Oh, I forgot I texted you about this. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I had box braids with yarn. They were super long. They were super fun to have. And Tess was like, I could crochet the end of your box braids into ringlets if you wanted. And so that was like a fun futuristic thing. So we started texting about just funny stuff, and
then I started inviting you guys over.
Yeah.
So once a week I was like, we'll have a crochet day, and so I was teaching a few of our friends to crochet, and that was kind of how it started.
Picked up from there, and then we kind of started talking about the podcast more, and so this is kind of how Made to Mother started. But it's so funny because Made to Mother is something I've been thinking about for a long time.
This is Carissa's baby. I'm just here for it at this point. It's Carissa's
baby. Test. But Made to Mother, I wanted to start Made to Mother right after Walker was born, and I really wanted to start Made to Mother mostly because I feel like motherhood's a weakness of mine, if I'm being really honest. Like I feel like it's something that's a weakness, but I was reading in the scriptures, and I remember that scripture where it's saying, I give men weakness that they may be humble, but also that they can turn their weaknesses into strengths, essentially. And so I really view my weaknesses as opportunities to become strengths. And I knew that so many moms were probably feeling similarly, and that not enough people know that motherhood is such a wonderful thing, but also sometimes we don't want to be moms. And I wanted to really dive into that. So I've been thinking about doing a podcast and talking about these things, and also making it a community where people can be open and honest and also magnify their callings as mothers at the same time. But I wasn't doing anything about it. Like, I had this idea, I recorded kind of an episode, and I sent it to a few people to see what they thought about it, and then I just chickened out over and over again. But then Tess moved into the ward, and I'm like, she could actually help me get this started because I don't know what I'm doing. And Tess, I'm over at her house, and she's like, we could do this podcast together.
I just had this feeling. I was like, if you want to do it together, because I know for myself, I do a lot of things by myself. I have my own things I do, but I know I'm the type of person I do so much better when I'm working with somebody else. And at this point, I knew her well enough that I knew I could do something with her. We'll talk about this later when we talk about green flags. But I knew her well enough to know that we could do this because it's a business aspect together. So I was like, would you want to do this together? And Crystal was like,
I said no.
You said it in a nice way, but it was kind of like, and I was like, okay.
It's so funny because at the time I just had such a set vision of what I thought Made to Mother needed to be, and it's not that, and motherhood, right? I mean, I'm still just figuring everything out, and I just had this vision of what I really wanted it to be, not what it needed to be. And that was, so I kind of was like, well, yeah, you could come on my show, we could do a little collab or something.
Which I was fine with. I was like, I totally understand. I was just gonna throw it out there.
I think I wanted to prove to myself that I could do it by myself at the time, where now I look back and I realize that's not what's important about it. I didn't need to prove anything to myself. So we have that conversation, and nothing happens. I still don't start Made to Mother. Nothing really happens, and then I'm on the phone with my mom, maybe a week, 2 weeks later, and my mom and I talk about everything. So my mom already knows that I wanted to start this podcast. We've talked about it a lot, but for some reason, I had this feeling, this prompting to bring it up to my mom again. And I just thought it was kind of weird because we talked about it so much, but I did. So I was like, hey mom, I really want to get this podcast started. I still don't know how to do it. I don't know where I'm going with this. And my mom was like, well, did you know that the church is actually looking for a parent podcast and they're hosting auditions right now? And my mind was, what? No, I didn't know
Get
that.
paid to do this? Oh my goodness.
So she sends me all the information, I'm looking at the details, and it says that it wants 2 to 3 hosts. So instantly I'm like, Tess.
But it says a family member.
Yes. So it wants, what it really wanted, it wanted ideally 3 hosts. It wanted you all to be related, which was a little bit harder. So I instantly thought of Tess, and I had another cousin that I had reached out to as well. And I was trying to figure out like how to make this work or what to do. And then my cousin ended up doing like just a different direction and it didn't work out. And so then I was like led back to just Tess. And I just feel like God's hand was so in this of helping reframe my brain in the way that I needed to. Because again, I had this such strict vision of what I wanted and not what it needed to be. And God knows that I also do better with another person and that we needed each other and that he saw the potential. And so Tess and I started planning our audition. We decided we were going to audition for this. We started planning our
We also
audition.
found out, aren't we 13th cousins?
Oh, we did do the research,
We
and
did.
actually we are family. We're
Yeah.
13 cousins.
Obviously. I mean,
So-
can't you tell?
Obviously they didn't hire us because we're not on that podcast. We're on our own.
Yep.
They guess 13 cousins wasn't good enough for them.
Which is just fine, because we've got our own plans.
But now you guys know that we're 13 cousins. So
Which I hope that was the standard you were waiting for. You're like, I will only listen to them if they are related. Done. We're related.
So that the church podcast audition, that was our first time doing an episode together, and we loved it.
Yeah.
And Tess was like, well, we're gonna do this whether this
Yeah.
works out or not. And then I was like, yes, we're gonna do this whether this works out or not. So we didn't get the job, which is fine. I'm happy for whoever got it. It's a great podcast. But it definitely led Tess and I to where we needed to be, and it's been so much fun ever since. So that's our cool, funny, roundabout way.
So we don't get paid, and we don't have because the church would have provided us with all the supplies. So you are getting us with our raw random.
I ordered the wrong microphones for my phone audio to do the video. So yeah, if the church was sponsoring us,
This wouldn't have happened.
you
And
would
we
have
would get
higher
paid.
quality. Yeah.
But I just love that, and I love that because, like you said, like you had such a strict version for what it had to look like, and then God was like nudging you in a different direction, and I feel like that's like the epitome of motherhood. Like I had such a strict version of what I thought motherhood had to look like, and then my first came screaming into this world and caused me to relearn everything I thought I knew about motherhood. And there's just so much beauty in that and how this came to be too, because I think that it has deepened our friendship, but also it's
For
opened
sure.
our eyes to so much more,
Yeah.
and more that what this podcast needed to be.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
I love it. And like you talked about your vision of like what you thought it was going to look like in motherhood. And I think like for me, one of the most beautiful things about doing this podcast together is it's brought me just a sense of feeling not alone. That I'm not alone on this journey, and that's what we want you guys to feel. You don't have to believe the same things as us. You don't have to do the things the same way as us. We're just giving you what we know in the moment that we're in. And we aren't experts, but we know who is. And so knowing that God is our expert to turn to, and Christ is with us, I think that for us is, hey, we can talk about God leading us. And again,
Yeah.
that we don't know everything. We don't know all the pieces, but we know that we're here together in this journey.
Exactly. And I love that you just brought it back to God, because we really wanted to, I mean, God's the only way we're going to make it through this. God is the ultimate teacher. And here on Make to Mother, we're not here to tell you the right way to parent, or if you do this, it will solve all your problems. Because there isn't one right way to parent. There isn't one right way to do things. But we're here to just be with you in those hard moments, to be with you in the happy moments, and to know that we can do this, that we're designed to do this, to help build you up and be confident in yourself, because you got the answers, Mama. You got them. And God chose you and designed this for you so that you could learn, so that you could grow and become the person that He wants and needs you to be. And that's the same for Tess and I. Like we're all just in this journey together, trying to figure it out. And this isn't us trying to make or pressure you into being something that you're not. We're here to motivate you to be who you are. And that's a child of God.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Can I get an amen?
I was just thinking, I was like, amen in the house. All right, so let's dive into friendships, like finding friendships. I feel like this was a big part of my journey, is figuring out friendships for myself. But I know that a lot of people maybe struggle to make friendships, especially deep friendships. I feel like surface level friends are, you can have those acquaintances, we'll just say, but like having those deep, got your back, would help you hide the body friends.
But not actually help you hide the body.
But not really.
Because we've been watching way too many weird documentaries.
I know, Ruby Frankie has got us all up in our heads. Anyways, so
not to get into that side,
yes,
but we actually would not help you hide a body.
No, we wouldn't. But anyways, but that theme of friendship.
Theme, yes.
So how do you think, because we have different big age gap, we have 10 years, so you're coming into your 20s finding motherhood friends, and I'm already, I wouldn't say I'm advanced, I'm an intermediate in this, but how would you say like finding friendships has shifted more as becoming a mother, like finding those deeper friendships?
Making friendships after becoming a mom was really hard because it was this new stage that was just unexpected, getting pregnant a month after getting married, and I just wasn't feeling like myself. I had just severe postpartum depression and anxiety, and I didn't really feel like myself, which typically I did make friendships really easily, close and surface level. So, but after becoming a mom, I was just so in my head about, again, this idea of what I thought motherhood needed to be, and I still struggle with that sometimes. Of like, I still only have one kid, you know, so it's like I only have one perspective of what motherhood looks like so far. I haven't had any other kids. There's still a lot of things I'm ready to learn and need to learn, and it was hard to find where I fit in because, like I said earlier, I saw moms in our church. I feel like church is a great way to meet people and make friends, but I saw them above me and ahead of me, and then I didn't feel like I fit in with the newlyweds. It was weird because I was a newlywed and a mom, so I felt like I fit in
The category,
both of them. But it was just so weird. I don't really know how to explain it other than I felt so torn of like, I feel like I relate to these newlyweds, but now I'm in the mom category, and I don't feel like I'm ready to be in this mom category with these professional mothers who've been doing it for 10 plus years, you know? And so that was hard, but then I think slowly building friendships. Like, I feel like God really just slowly puts people in our life. Like I went to the breastfeeding support group, which is a free class given to us at the hospital. And there was only one other girl there, and she's become one of my best friends. We had like almost the same due date, and we become friends. And then I was just kind of slowly, over a long period of time, got more friends as I got more confident in myself.
Yeah.
I think as I kind of got more confident in myself, more confident in my ability to be a mother, and got on medication.
Same. Well, I also say a lot of it is confidence. That you have to have confidence in yourself, but also the other person has to be putting in, like, it's got to be a good percentage that we're putting in our relationship together.
A give and take relationship.
Because there's some where I'm like, I'll start a relationship and I'm like, they aren't, like, it's me that's initiating, it's me that's trying, it's me that's, and sometimes there's points in friendships where you are that person because they're going through a hard time, and it's a give and take. But there are people that just naturally, I think you bond with, and that Heavenly Father has put into your life during that time for a reason. And I know for me, I wasn't a person that had like a lot of friends growing up. It's so funny because I am an extrovert, and like people knew me in high school, but I didn't have like close friends. In fact, all my friends were guys. Like because I do not understand girl drama. Again, I'm here for it, popcorn. But like, I don't understand girl drama because I was very much raised to be yourself and be genuine, and I didn't realize that there were non-genuine people. And so I don't know how to handle it. I don't know what to do with it. And even being a 35-year-old woman, I'm like, I don't like to play the games. I'm not a game girl. That's why I married my husband. I was like, I don't like guys that play games. I'm not a girl that plays games. Like, I don't do this game thing. But I feel like making those friendships that are like deep and connected, like you've got to find a person that's they're not playing the game either, and that also like you feel kind of not an instant connection, but over time you go, okay, this is someone I can be more vulnerable with, because true friendships take vulnerability.
They take vulnerability and they take effort. I feel like another hard thing with moms is there's sometimes mom friends that like we just never get together. We try and then something comes up and then we try again.
Or you don't live close.
Or you don't live close. I'm getting together with a friend tomorrow. I haven't seen her in probably like 6 months. It just never worked out, and like she just had another baby, and so she's in this realm of newbornness, and so we're gonna hopefully hang out tomorrow. I'm super understanding if we can't because we've all been there. You know, I know you're not canceling because you hate me. You're canceling because life just happens. But that's another struggle. So I would say just continue to put effort in. Continue to try to hang out because at some point it'll happen. And you know what? Some friendships you hang out when you can, and you just embrace and have fun in those moments, and then I hope to see you soon. And we'll pick right back up again.
Yeah.
Because we can't. I don't have a rule or friendships where we talk every single day, and that's okay.
What are you talking about? We talk every single day.
Okay, well, I used to not.
I think I'm right here, Marissa.
I don't have any friends. I don't actually talk to anyone.
It's like, what is she talking about?
Okay, I guess that's a fair point. We do talk. We do talk pretty much every day. I don't really talk to anybody else every day.
Aww. Me and Drew. The two of us. And Walker. We're aiming for a little plan.
I'm not used to that. And you know what, if you do have a friend that you talk to every day, you probably don't notice it either. And that's okay. And if you have other friends that you don't talk to every day, that's okay too. You can just pick up where you left off.
Well, and I would say my best friend, so I have multiple best friends, and coming from a person that didn't have any close friends, to the fact that I had like multiple high-body friends, which we wouldn't really, because
disclaimer, because there's so many weird things out there.
I know. Don't take my words out of context, please, and put it on a podcast later in my life. I don't want to be on a true crime podcast. Anyways, so I have my best friend that came out of like. She started walking with me right before I went to labor with Porter. But the thing with her that she became my best friend was she was there for me. Like, she was there for me. The reason we became friends, like really close friends, is I was having a hard time nursing Porter, which I'm sure I'll tell this story at some point later on. And I was really struggling. And Jaren, actually, I didn't even know this story until a couple months ago. Jaren called Carly and was like, what do I do? And she's like, my husband has the car, so I can't come over or else I would help. And Jaren's like, I'll come pick you up. And he went and he picked her and her two little girls up and brought them to our house because we didn't live far. We lived like 5 minutes away from each other. And brought her to my house. And she walked into my room and she's like, I'm going to grab your boob now. And I was like, okay. We always joke that we're breast friends.
That's funny.
But like, I was such in a desperate place, and she had been there, and she was like, I'm just gonna show up and do it. And she did. She just showed up. She just kept coming back and showing up and being like, I'm here for you, and in whatever it looks like, whether it's holding your baby so you can nap, whether it's making you a snack while you're trying to breastfeed, whether it's watching, like, going with you to doctor's appointments. Like, she became that person that just was there, and we went through hard stuff together in that toddler stage, and we parented different, and we were trying to figure out our different situations, but we were there. And we did go through some times where it's like we had to talk about, like, she watched my kid for a while, and like I was working late, and she's like, I gotta have you pick him up earlier because we're not getting family time. And so we had to have hard conversations sometimes.
That's good.
And I feel like when you have those hard conversations, instead of just going into avoidance, when you have those hard conversations and say, like, something's not working in our relationship, and you have to talk it out, that's when friendships get to a whole different level. Because you bring up something, or hey, like this situation happened. Like my son accidentally broke her daughter's arm when they were little.
Oops.
And I mean, obviously, like he like pushed her off a playset. It was a very odd situation. He was only like 2. Like it was just a weird situation. But like, it was one of those like she didn't blame me. She didn't blame Porter. Like she didn't like it wasn't. It was like things happen, and having those friendships where you realize like my kid is safe in the environment at her house, and her kids are safe in the environment at my house. You can really get to those deeper friendships where now, like, her kids call me Aunt Tess. My kids call her Aunt Carly. Like, she is their aunt, and even though we lived apart for 5 years, we lived across the country, we still continued our relationship on Marco Polo. We still were working to have an effort to keep our relationship. So when we did move, when she convinced me to move across the country, it only took her 5 years, like, I moved here, it was like our friendship never skipped a beat. And those are like, that's the type of friendship I am here for all day long, because we worked on it for years. And now our friendship is 10 years old, and she's someone that I know is going to be there for me forever.
You guys should do like a 10-year anniversary best friends. Like
it was our 10-year anniversary. I actually talked about making boob cakes together.
That would be so
for our breastfed anniversary.
That would be so funny. I feel like the friends that you make in those hard newborn stages are, I mean, you have moments that you'll never forget about.
Yep.
You become breast friends. Motherhood makes you such an open person, because you're like, I'm not, in the newborn stage, you're barely wearing clothes. You look homeless.
Yeah.
My husband and I just talked about this. Like, did I really look homeless?
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah, you did.
You were in survival. You're in survival. Well, and even talking coming out of
good friends.
where I don't have toddlers anymore, and I was like, oh my gosh, the sleep deprivation you're in for years with toddlers, it is no joke. As my kids can function by themselves, I'm like, oh, no wonder I might have been a bad friend during that time to other people, because I was sleep deprived. And I was having my own mental health issues with postpartum and prepartum and HG, and I had all the, I was in a rough place, and there were people that were still there for me in that time, even though they didn't know how to be.
So what would you say, Tess, are like your top 3 green flags of friendship? Making a new friend.
I'd say 1, that they are an open person, as in like, not only do they share about themselves, but they also they want to know more about you. Where it's like, I want to know about you. I want to show up in your life, and they do. They show up, and they are an open person.
Yeah.
I would say 2, that they're not too overbearing. That they're very much like, hey, I'm here to help, but also like, no big deal if it's not working out.
Yeah.
Because in red flag friendships that I've had, it's been, they were like that, but then they became too overbearing, and they became, either my friendship is the sole friendship, or they became very jealous of me having other friendships.
Yeah.
And I've had that in the past where I'm like, I have a best friend, and right off the bat, like, you knew I had a best friend, and I was like, she's my best friend, but I'm like, you can have more than one.
You can.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. This is not like
husbands.
husbands.
Best friends.
It's not like husbands. You go one husband, but you can have multiple best friends.
Look at me and best friends.
Exactly.
We're best friends.
And I have different best friends that offer me different things, and I think it's beautiful. So yeah, that would be my second. Is like that. I don't know. Maybe my third is that are willing to have the hard conversations, but also that are willing to literally just ramble. I think that's something, like, I get on Marco Polo and talk, and they're like, I'm sorry, I was just rambling, and I was like, girl, I'm here for it. Don't you know I'm your rambly friend? I'm like, I am here.
We're both ramblers. I think we've already discussed this.
Yeah, I am here. I want to know the stupid details you're rambling on about because your tile doesn't match your cabinets in your bathroom. I want to know it all because I chose you. because I chose you and I continue to choose you in that friendship and those relationships. I continue to choose you every day. And so you don't have to apologize that your house is messy. You don't have to apologize. Like, I am here because I'm not sitting there judging what you're doing, because I hope you're not doing the same thing for me. And that's, it really gets to a beautiful level when you have those friendships where you're like, whether they live, I have my best friend lives in Utah, Lindsay. And then my best friend lives in Missouri. And then I have you as my best friend. And each of you plays a different role in my life, but each of you has kind of earned that spot because you continue to show up, ramble, be with me through the hard times.
Yeah. And you do the same for them, like you brought up. I think, you have to make sure that in a friendship you are giving and taking, and you don't feel there's not a tally of give and take. It's just, whatever, it'll work out. Like, I'll pay for this time. I don't care if you pay for next time. I'm not keeping track. But like, it ends up being equal in the way that you need it to be.
Yeah. So what would you say your 3 green flags are that you've learned in your lifetime?
1, if they have box braids. 2, if they teach hula, and 3,
So basically you're the perfect friend. Only her.
Really, my only obligation is that they're just like me. Just kidding. No. Nope, not at all. 1, I would probably say genuine.
Yes.
I also think I feel like becoming an adult, I've just had so many awakenings of there's evil in the world, and you have to be careful, there's disingenuine people in the world. People who are intentionally evil. I don't know, there's
intentionally mean.
Intentionally mean,
yes,
that's what
the mean girl. I was like, I don't even know how to play these games.
And I also came from I just not pretty naive to that. So I think genuine is very, very important. Number 1, genuine. And you can really tell when somebody's genuine and when they're not.
And it might take some time too. You might in 3 to 6 months, you realize that someone's not genuine. And guess what? It's okay to walk away from a friendship that is not healthy. It is. And I've had a few red flag friendships where I'm like, I should have walked away months before this. So just giving you a heads up, you're allowed to walk away.
You are. But genuine. Number 1. 2, probably that they're also open-minded. I agree with what you were saying of, there are some things that I'm passionate about, and I feel like I have become more passionate and I guess you could say extreme on things just since becoming a mom, because I'm like, what do I believe on these things? What am I going to say when my kid asks me about this topic and this topic? So I am passionate about some things. However, I like being friends with everyone. I've always liked being friends with everyone, and I appreciate people who are also open-minded, and if we have different beliefs, I hope that wouldn't stand in the way of our friendship. Unless they did hide a body, then that would stand in the way. Bringing that back up, that would be the only one.
That would be a problem. I know. Like, that used to be like the determination of friendship, and now I'm like, no.
Too many documentaries, man. I'm just gonna keep coming back up.
Like, this is not cool. Okay.
So 1, genuine. 2, open-minded. Because I also appreciate people who like to try new things. I appreciate people who will do crazy things with me and be adventurous. I think open-minded goes along with. I would say open-minded goes along with. I'm looking for a word. You know what I mean?
No.
Adventurous? Oh, yeah. They like different things than I do, and okay, I'm actually just gonna go number 3. Number 3 is people who I can learn from. I think if there's qualities that you like in someone, if you want to be, like for example with Tess, I saw a lot of cool things. I was like, I want to surround myself with good people that I want to be like. And
I like nodding yeah, I am, but I was thinking the same thing about you. I was not nodding about
Surround yourself with people that you want to be like, because who you're influenced by, who you're watching on social media, the movies you're watching, the people you're with, that influences who you become. We're so malleable as people, that's the cool part. And also the dangerous part, right?
Yeah.
And so surround yourself with people that you like. So I like a lot of my friends, like you brought up, teach me different things that not in a selfish way that I want for myself, but I admire them and love them for who they are and their individuality. We have common things that we share, but I also love them for the different things that they bring to the table. And I love to offer the different things and chaotic things that I bring to the table.
Yeah.
So
Well, and I think not demanding perfection in your friendships.
yes, that is another big one for me. Is I'm a kind of a no expectations girly because I am chaotic and I change my mind a lot.
I love that.
And I'm late, and I may one day be all on Barbara O'Neill, and the next day I might be on some other random homemade deodorant detox mission.
And you wondered if you had ADHD. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing that out there.
On that note, I am getting tested for ADHD in case you guys are wondering. And so tune in next week
to find out what her new hobby is. Her new research hobby.
Yeah, I'm late to things. I was already like being a mom. I flake out on things, not intentionally, but sometimes I overload my plate or I didn't expect things to go, and I need people who are understanding. So I guess 4, understanding. There are the flags.
There you go. I love it. I love it. So, well, and I feel like there have been friendships, especially as we went through the COVID years, because I went through those with kids. And through the COVID years, as people are like, vaccinate, don't vaccinate, like, you learned a lot about the people in your life.
Yeah.
You learned a lot, and good or bad. But I feel like I learned that I hopefully am a friend that will let people have their own values.
Right. Whether you vaccinate or not,
Yeah.
we can still be around each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And that for me was a big eye opener that like I have strong values and principles, but also I had a lot of people that didn't respect my side.
Yeah, and both sides need to respect it.
Yeah.
Like respect me, and like if you're crazy about vaccines or if I'm crazy about vaccines, like we would respect each other even if we disagree.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I also learned that like there are some people I might not get as close with because of their values or beliefs, and that's okay. It's okay to go, these are people that I love and I care about, but also I don't have to create deep, close friendships.
Right. Deep, close relationships, and just different. There's also seasons of friendship. I feel like where you're close with someone and then it kind of goes away for a little bit, but like you talk every now and then, and that's just the seasons of life.
Yeah.
But
And they're real. I think my biggest thing is I hope that as you are searching for maybe these meaningful mom friends, that you know that someone is out there praying for you right now. Like they are praying for you to be their friend. And I think that's it, is listening to Carly talk. She's like, I prayed for you to be my friend. I prayed for a friendship that was like this, that my children would have an anti-test. Like I prayed for this. And that's, I'm like, I prayed for it too. And I've had so many people have come into my life that now my kids have multiple aunts that we get to watch Walker whenever, that like we have these open friendships and this open love with each other and for each other's children. And so just know someone's out there praying for you like you're praying for them.
and with that, because I really love that you brought that up of someone is praying for you. And so with that, put yourself out there, because if somebody's praying for you, we have to be open and vulnerable enough to put ourselves out there. I feel like sometimes in the beginning it kind of felt like I had no friends, but I wasn't going and trying to make friends. Like there really are a lot of ways, and I understand there's busier seasons, I get that. So if the things that I'm talking about don't work for you, there's online options. Or maybe just wait a little bit, keep those online call your friend who lives across the country. But there are like, the library does free readings. And that's a great opportunity for you to meet moms who are in your same place, same stage of life, as they do readings in different age groups. I was really bad at that. But it's a great way. The park is another great option. But putting yourself out there, because somebody is praying for you. And so you gotta be there.
Well, in different groups, like your breastfeeding group, I joined, it was so I had 5 years of not having any close friends when I lived back in Utah, and we were in a really, really small town, and that was some of the hardest years of my life.
So with that, being 5 years, not being able to find any close relationships, you were putting yourself out there, I'm guessing.
I was trying to, but it was hard because I was in a small town. So I was making friends like an hour away from me.
Okay.
And then I had close friends that I was doing Marco Polo things. And in fact, during that time, I made a close friend through Marco Polo because we had that to continue to talk to each other. Because we were both moms at home alone in small towns. So like we created a deep relationship over that time. But I didn't have any close physically friends.
Which that's hard. 5 years is a long time not to have that in personness. But I am glad that you put yourself out there on Marco Polo and that you did.
And that's when I
friends.
really started sharing online because online became my place to make friends because I was so lonely. And so I want to say like 4.5 years, I found out there was a homeschool group and we were homeschooling. And so I went to that and I ended up like my second group meeting or whatever, I met someone and we became really good friends. And it was only for like the 6 months that I lived there. But she became such a great friend to me, and I'm so grateful. I think when I moved, one of the things she told me, she's like, if I just moved here just to be friends with you, it was worth it. Aww. And like, she's like, go make friends. That's what she said. She's like, go make friends, go put yourself out there. No matter if you're just living somewhere for a year, go put yourself out there because you're worth knowing. And like that was such a beautiful thing. And I will say when we moved to Vegas, knowing I lived in Vegas for 1 year. That I put myself out there. I did a book club. I joined a cooking club there. I made amazing friendships while I was in Las Vegas for that short time. And a lot of that's because my friend told me I was worth knowing. And seriously, I was like, don't let me over here. But you're worth knowing. You're worth knowing. You are worth someone getting to know. And I will say, I have gone through a lot of heartache with friends, tears, cried, losing friends in my life. And for a while that put me off from making any more friends. I was like, I'm done. I'm done making friends. I'm done putting myself out there. But if I would have stopped, I would have never met Carissa. If I would have stopped, I never would have made friends in Vegas. I never would have made friends living here. I would have just closed myself off, which maybe you felt this before. But I would have closed myself off and never given myself the opportunity to love and have deeper and meaningful friendships. So if you've been in those hard friendships, sometimes it's worth the valuable lesson for the red flag friends because you will eventually learn that red flag that you needed to learn so then you can go to the green flag friends.
And with those red flag friends, still pray for them.
Yeah.
Try to end things in a way that isn't going to damage you down the line or damage them down the line. You know, it's really hard to end a friendship, but it's important to do it in a way where you guys can still be around each other and not have it be some crazy thing. Like there are some people in my life that I love, but I have had to put up different boundaries.
Thanks so much for being with us today. I really hope that this message really touched your heart in what you needed because I know if I would have heard this 7 years ago, it really would have helped me. So we're praying for you. We love you and we're sending you all the good, genuine friendship, green flag vibes all your way right now.
They're flying in the air.
All everywhere.
They're making their way to you.
You know those prayer flags that you've seen, like where they can like write their prayers and hang them up.
I have not,
but I'm like, it should be like green flag that are green flag prayers. Right?
Green flag.
Here's all my green flag prayers.
Yeah, know that somebody's praying for you, and that your light is needed. And yeah, everything Tess said, ditto.
Same. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Yay! That probably didn't even catch that.
I know.
Right?